Hey guys, we're here with the Hollywood Life podcast, and we really, really do have a special guest here today, a legend. But before I introduce her, I'm going to say hello to my co-anchor, Ali Stagnita. Hello, Ali.
Hi, Bonnie. Yes, I'm so excited for us to chat with this guest today. As you said, icon, legend, all of the things, and we're going to dig right into her career. So, Bonnie, I will let you introduce her.
Okay. She's got big news. And this is somebody whose music I have danced to for many years. We're so excited to have her here today. Everybody welcome the legendary Belinda Carlisle.
Oh, that was quite an intro.
God. Oh, yeah.
Well, you deserve it. You deserve it.
Thank you so much.
One of the founders of the most successful all-female rock and roll bands, or new wave punk. I'm not sure exactly how you would describe yourselves, the Go-Go's. And then you've had a fantastic solo career. And, we're here today because you've got a new single launching, Big Love.
Right. I've been doing this since 1977. And last year I thought was the year of winding down, and really having a quiet life because, I've lived out of a suitcase basically since I was 18. But my son ran into Diane Warren at a coffee shop in LA, and he introduced himself. And she said, "What is your mom doing? Let's call her." So they FaceTimed me out of the blue, and I get this phone call, and she's like, "Get to the studio. I have a hit for you." And I was like, whoa, I was kind of taken aback. I wasn't sure whether I wanted to make that commitment because it's a big commitment to make. But at the same time, we don't say no to Diane. So
no, Diane Warren, she is, for all our listeners, like huge, famous songwriter, and she's done work with you before.
Yeah, I hadn't seen her. I hadn't worked with her since the Heaven on Earth album. She wrote 2 hits for me, I Get Weak, and another one called Road Without You. So I went down to the studio, and I was completely blown away by the material that she played me. So I said, obviously, I'm not meant to retire right now or semi-retire. And let's do it. So we recorded a 5-song EP called Kismet, and Kismet is very fitting title for the way this whole project came about.
What does Kismet? What does Kismet mean?
Kismet conjures up like things that can't be explained, like coincidences, chance meetings, happenstance, magic, the esoteric. In my case, and with this project, it was a series of coincidences. So it's been a word in my vocabulary for quite a long time. I just love sort of the imagery it conjures up. So I thought that it was like a really fitting title for this EP.
Well, and it seems amazing and so kismet that Diane had actually written the song Big Love a few days before she ran into your son, and she had already had you in mind for that single. What was your reaction to hearing it for the first time, especially since you were hesitant to kind of get back into singing?
Right. Well, I'm very black and white, and have always been black and white. And I hadn't done an English speaking project since 97. So I figured that those days were behind me, because usually great pop songs that are on par with the sort of material that I've done in the late 80s and early 90s would go to an artist that was much younger than me, or an artist that was in the charts. So I wasn't sure when I went in. I was like, oh, what am I going to hear? But I was like, wow, this is amazing. And then not only was that song amazing, but the other songs that she played were amazing too. And the chances of me liking 5 out of 5 is 1%. Because usually it's 1 in 20. And it's oh, this is good. But, I've been spoiled in my career where I've worked with the greatest songwriters in the world who have written songs with my voice in mind. So, the whole thing was weird. It was just weird. And it was like the universe saying, you can't retire right now. You're meant to sing these songs.
Yep. Oh, Bonnie, you muted me.
there.
Right.
I'm so glad that you decided not to retire. And the song does sound like it was written with you in mind. It's, it's very upbeat. It's very poppy. It's about finding love, but in a really positive way, like not, oh, I'm so sad, but I'm going to find love, big love, because I deserve it. And so it's a great message. And when you're looking for songs that you feel are really right for you, what is it about them that you need them to have?
Well, I always thought, being my age, if something was going to come my way, that it would have to be age appropriate, because I have been through, I've sung all these long love songs as longing and loss and heartache, and I don't feel like that. I don't, so I thought, I boxed myself in with that mindset. And then when I heard these songs, I thought, no, I've had so many different experiences in life with different types of love. And singing for me is almost like acting. So you go into the vocal booth and you can take yourself back to a person, place, or time where you can get yourself in that mindset and singing about all these different types of love. So as long as the lyrics, and most of my songs are love songs, as long as the lyrics are sort of poetic and not embarrassing and like 3-year-old, I'm picky about lyrics too. So they can't be like literal. So these songs that Diane came up with and all the songs that I've sung, lyrically, I'd say 95% of the time have been songs that I thought were like, these are really good. I can't just sing. I can't sing anything, So like I said, I'm picky. So yeah, I just put myself in these with every song in a mindset where I could sing them and sing them believably.
Well, and you also partnered up with Diane. So tell us a little bit about how, because you were already working on Big Big Love when you guys partnered up for the 80 for Brady song, Gonna Be You, right? So that one came out too. Tell us a little bit about that and how that came to be.
Well, I was in Mexico City. I live in Mexico City. And when we were working here, and then she's calls and goes, oh, I had this song, Dolly, Cindy, Gloria, and Debbie are singing on it. Do you want to sing? It's like, yeah.
Duh.
So I sang my vocals in Mexico City. Everybody did their parts everywhere else. Mm-hmm. Through the years, I've met everybody. We're not friends, but I worked with Cindy a few years ago at a show. And then Debbie, I've known since the punk days, and Dolly I've met. I'm a fan of everybody. Yeah. So everybody did their parts remotely. They did their video parts remotely. It turned out great. And I'm hoping that something comes up where we're able to sing the song in the same room.
That would be
that would be fantastic.
Yeah.
I think that's so interesting because, here you were partnered with 3 other female legends who also are older, and you brought up, and then it's for a movie about women that are older and that are living their best life.
Right.
And, you've said a couple of times at my age, but don't you feel it's like you're kicking age in the butt? Why should age be relevant?
No, age isn't really, I don't really think about my age at all. In fact, I feel like if someone asked me how old do you feel, I'd say 32. I always go to that number. But I was just, when I was talking about the lyrics, I wrongly boxed myself in because it shouldn't be defined, what I sing defined by my age. But I am also very aware that, there are some things that I don't think that are appropriate for me to do. Like, I'm not going to go out on stage, wearing a bra and underwear. I'm,
Good.
But I wouldn't have done that when I was 22. But there's things but plenty of women do. But that's fine. That's good for them. But there's things that I won't do because of my age. But I can't think of anything right now. I'm probably more active now than I've ever been, and my life when I turned 50 got very exciting in so many ways. So. I was just only thinking in terms of lyrics, and I was wrong about that.
Mm.
You, you
I was
also,
gonna
I'm
say-
sorry, go ahead,
Go
Allie.
ahead. I was going to say, I agree with like feeling young. I like, even though I turned 29 on Sunday and
Yeah,
I
like you are
said to
young.
my mom, but I said to my mom, I was like, I don't feel 29. I feel like 22. And I kind of agree with like Remy Ma just said that she doesn't count COVID years or the years she was in jail. So I kind of agree with that. I haven't been in jail, but I like get that.
Yeah. I mean, I don't feel my age. Like I said, I'm more active. Yeah. It's just a number. Actually, I was talking to a friend when I was traveling. I do all these crazy travels, adventure traveling. And he said, well, just face it. We're old. And I was like, no, you can't, I would never say that about myself. Of course I'm 64, but I don't consider myself old. I don't know why, but I just don't.
Listen, you're life experienced. You've got experience and wisdom.
Exactly.
And
I do.
Which are gifts to have. And I think, it's great that, you are part of a generation of women who is redefining what you can do in so many ways as a woman. I mean, listen, you guys were one of the very first all-girl bands with the Go-Go's. And I'm sure that wasn't the easiest thing in a world, as the music world's was pretty male dominated.
Well, we never thought in terms of gender at all. I did, and I never did, which is strange because I grew up in a very traditional Christian family, and where everybody played their roles, and there was a lot of fear. And we didn't really think too much about it. I mean, it was annoying that we were being told by record companies that they wouldn't sign us because we were women or girls at that time.
Annoying.
We were young girls. We're young women. But I mean, we were packing the clubs at that time, and we knew that something would come along at the right time. But, and then as far as, I mean, that was annoying. That was it. That was one of the, but we proved everybody wrong.
Right.
So, which was, vindication in the end.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And you are going out on tour in about a month. You kick off your tour in Georgia, and you'll come through New York, Vegas, LA. How are you preparing to be performing live and, doing this like 3-month essentially tour?
Well, there's a lot of breaks in between. A lot. Yeah. I can't do it I don't want to do it like I used to, because I've done so much of it. So I just came off a big tour in the UK. And that was pretty intense. That was like 16 shows in 21 days, which is even tough, which is, the physicality of that is challenging, but I got through it. What I normally do is I start my vocal lessons, and I do a lot of breath work about a month before I go out on the road. So I'm, exercising your voice is like exercising any other muscle. Mm-hmm. So I do a lot of that. I'm doing that right now in preparation. And then when I'm out there, I mean, when I'm on the road, it's like I'm very isolated. I don't really socialize. I'm, it's like a bubble. So I really take care of my voice. I never did that back in the day. I always took it for granted. I would smoke, drink, sing, no problem, and party, no problem. But now it's like, I have to take care of it. So I'm just very mindful. I travel with 4 humidifiers. The air conditioning goes off, the heat goes off. So it's like a jungle in my room. And I don't talk that much. I don't really socialize. And that's the way I get through it. So, and it works. And it's kind of like even though I work, but it's like 2 on, 1 off. This coming summer, it's 2 on, maybe 3 off. So I have time for myself. So I always make time for wherever I am, for Pilates or for yoga or for whatever. So and seeing the places where I am, as opposed to when I used to tour, we never had time to.
That sounds like a very smart, sane approach.
It is.
Because I have to say, I do think that in observing, like, and hearing a Taylor Swift, she's doing 4-hour shows and, so many shows. It just has to be so physically and mentally challenging. And yeah, I guess, you're young, but still tough. So I think that sounds so smart what you're doing. We talked about how you've sung a lot about love, and I saw on your Instagram, it wasn't that long ago, you celebrated, was it 37, 38 years of marriage? Like, how do you manage that? That's to be 37. So successful.
It's just work. It just works. I mean, with any relationship that goes on that long, of course, there's challenges at times and ups and downs, but we stuck with it, and we're like best friends. And now we're both older and we've had, the most amazing time, and we're it's better than ever. So I would say, I don't know, I think it's luck, really. A lot of it's luck and finding the right person. Yeah. And after we had our first date, and we moved in together the next day.
Oh my God.
Everybody thought it was crazy, of course, but we didn't. We thought, this is it. This is it. So, and you both knew it. So, and it was it. And it still is it.
Wow.
Yes.
The next day. How did that happen?
That's like love at first sight.
Yeah, it was. We went to Hall & Oates concert, and then we went to Trader Vic's for drinks. And then it was like, that's it.
You're the one.
That's it. Yeah. And of course, everybody thinks you're nuts, especially, he comes from a totally different background. He was working in the White House while I had green hair and, a pair of snows. So
who was he working for there?
He was as a chief of protocol under Ronald Reagan.
Oh, so interesting.
A Reagan Democrat, and so he was there, and while I was at the Mask, so, hanging out and, being crazy. So it just, and he comes from the other side of the tracks. So, his background, his father was James Mason. His mother was a big Hollywood hostess. I come from Burbank, California, which is a very working class. So totally different backgrounds, but it worked.
Wow. When did you take out your nose ring?
Oh, God. Probably, well, I'm not going into the gross details, but probably pretty quickly after I put it in.
Really?
I had this, the all around here. Everything. So not everything, but, yeah.
Have any, like, when you look back at your career and like your time, especially in like the 70s, what's the highlight for you?
I think that I was really lucky to experience that music scene in the late 70s and early 80s. I'd say from 1977 to 1980, it was just like so creative, so exciting. We knew that we were all experiencing something really special as kids. The music was just so much great music coming out. And to be in the middle of it and to be a part of it creatively was, it was a very, I can't put it into words, but energetically, it was something that doesn't come along too often.
Yeah.
And it was really a special time.
Yeah.
And you didn't get raised by a musical family, from what I understand. And were you totally self-taught? And you not only did you learn your own instrument, and the whole band played their own instruments, but you wrote music. Like, how did that all happen?
Against all odds, I'm not self-taught. I had no idea how to do anything. Nobody did. And of course, everybody fancies himself a singer in the shower. And I did, And then when we decided because all the kids that we did, it was like 50 kids in the punk scene at that time in 1978, maybe 100 tops. And everybody knew each other. So we were in a party, and it was like, okay, let's form a band. Okay, what are you going to do? I think I want to play bass. And I had a choice of like playing the drums or singing, even though I had no experience, I thought I'll sing. So that's how it started. And you could be terrible as you went along, and it was cooler to be terrible. Untrained, terrible. We our first show was at the Mask, the punk club in the Mask, which was in the basement of a porn theater in Hollywood Boulevard. And we did 3 songs, 2 songs, one song twice. That counted as songs. And I think that there was a drive it was against all odds, there was natural talent in the band. I mean, we wrote songs with masking tape on the guitar frets, 6, 2, 4, 3, like that, until we learned the proper names for the chords. So, and there is just natural talent. No songs were ever written by anybody outside the band. It was a girls' club. It was meant to be, it was more for fun in the beginning and being cool on the scene. But there was natural talent in the band. And it was weird. I mean, to have that, to form a band without knowing anything, we asked Charlotte to join because she knew how to plug a guitar into an amplifier. So, because we didn't even know how to do that. So to go from that 1978 to being the biggest band in America 3 years later, without the help of like anybody on the outside, it's meant to be, So, and I think there's like the power of manifestation there, which I do believe in, because I think my whole career has been a series of like thinking about it and focusing on it and manifesting it. And that certainly was the case with the Go-Go's.
Wow. What a great story too, of just like women supporting each other and getting there.
Yeah, it was super fun. No boys were allowed. They weren't allowed anywhere near. It was all girls. We had female roadies, female management. But yeah. And then of course, at some point we had to be professional, So, and then, as it became more of a business, then sort of men became part of the equation. But for years, it was just a total female operation.
Which probably helped you guys like stay on track of just like the mission and the goal versus getting into like wherever else was going on during that time.
Yeah. I mean, even our boyfriends weren't allowed anywhere near the Go-Go's.
Yeah.
They could come to shows and that's about it. But I mean, it was like that scene, all the other bands, they felt bad for us because we were so horrible and on stage. And so they would give us lessons. And I was just like whispering and laughing behind our backs, I'm sure. But I mean, within 3 years, it was like, ta-da,
Wow. Yeah.
So yeah, it was amazing, an amazing story.
Wow. And, the band, is interesting because like even though you split up, I think it was 1985 from what I read, you've gotten back together several times to work together and to tour. Right. What do you think is it that has made you guys be able to do that, to be able to stick together, get together?
Well, I mean, up until it's over now, because it had to be over at some point after the Rock Hall induction, we sort of decided to call it a day. But I think through the years, I mean, it still is very familial, even though we don't see each other. I mean, we're family. We're not colleagues. It goes way beyond friendship, way beyond business associates. It's family. So and then I think through the years, we've always had a really, really good time. I mean, it's very, everybody's very funny. And we have a lot of laughs, and that was why we continued for as long as we did after we broke up. But we broke up in 85, and then in 89 we were approached by Jane Fonda to do this environmental benefit in LA. So she was responsible for really getting us back together and on track again and then from 1989 to last year, really, that was the end of it. So through the years, we've had a lot of fun together.
Yeah. How would you say too that your personal performance in music and like the type of music that you want to perform has evolved from the Go-Go's to your solo career, like, and what you're doing with Diane?
Well, I was raised and I grew up in Southern California, and I was like that music scene back then in the 60s and early 70s was incredible. And every summer I'd like lay in front of the speaker and listen to the radio. And so I was very much influenced by those complicated melodies, lots of harmonies, over the top production. And even when I was in the punk rock scene, we were really influenced by the music that we grew up with. And three of us grew up in Southern California. So it was always very melodic. So, I mean, when the Go-Go's disbanded, it wasn't even like going back because it was always in my DNA, that kind of music. So I just, without really even planning on how it was going to sound, it just kind of evolved. And that's been kind of with my whole career up until the present. Nothing has ever been contrived or planned. It just kind of happens. And, I'll know, okay, it's time to make an album. What's it going to be? And it just kind of happens.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting. That's so interesting.
It's not contrived.
Yeah, with what you say about things just
natural.
Kind of manifest. Now, you've mentioned your son. How did you manage with this kind of a career and having to be on the road so much to be able, how did you juggle that? Because so many of us, have that challenge.
Right. Well, I mean, I took him with me. I took him out of school and the school didn't like it, but I figured that seeing the world was a much more important thing than learning how to add and subtract, which he can't do, but he can read. I mean, I thought the only thing you should do is the only I care about is if you can read, you can speak properly, you can write properly, and reading opens up a whole new world. I don't really care about mathematics. So, but I took him everywhere with me. And also my husband's amazing. I mean, when I couldn't take him with me, he would take over, so we were living in France for all those years. And when he was, going to school and his formative years. So, yeah, I mean, that's how we dealt with it. Either he came with me or my husband took over.
It's always good to have the support system. That's key to success. Well, Belinda, thank you so much for joining us today. We're so excited to see all that comes from your US tour that's coming up. And Kismet is out now. So everybody get it.
Yes. And how can our listeners get tickets to your tour and see the schedule? Where can they find all the
I think the best thing is to go to the Facebook page, Belinda Carlisle Official. And it's very much up to date. Don't go to the website because that's not up to date. But that's the best source of information and updated information.
Well, thank you so much for joining us
and
having this wonderful discussion. And congratulations on Big, Big Love and Kismet. And have fun on your tour.
Oh, I intend to. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye. Take care. Bye.
You too.